evacuate through the person's ear holes. Hi, I'm Steve from 123D, and today I am gonna talk a little bit about this little beauty here, Elastic Resin. Very good colleague of ours over in Ireland. Big shout out to Rob. Put me in touch with a company called 3D Materials. He said, have you tried this resin, Steve? And I was like, no, I haven't. Gave me the company's details. I reached out. He introduced me. They offered to send me some samples to trial out. One piqued my interest. Now, I have seen resins like this, numerous exhibitions around the world. It has always impressed me because we all associate resin with stiff, rigid parts. Typically, when you cure resin, it becomes a hard material. When I'm pitched with the idea that I can get a silicone type resin, I'm like, interesting. I need to try this, because the only time I've really seen this actually available is on more industrial type machinery. Formlabs were probably one of the first resin manufacturers to introduce this kind of material into their own ecosystem. And as we know, Formlabs is very, very expensive. You need very, very deep pockets to buy a bottle of Formlabs resin. So when you've got the opportunity to buy a resin that claims to be very, very similar for a fraction of the price, why would I not test it? It doesn't tell me the shore hardness on the bottle, but I do know that the shore hardness of this particular resin is around about 65, which is ridiculously soft. How did it print? Well, I was concerned by the print settings, and as you can see, I only have a 500 gram bottle to test, so every drop was critical. I couldn't afford for any failures. I proceeded to clean the vat out on my Uniformation GK3 Ultra. I emptied the bottle into the vat, which didn't even make a dent in the GK3 Ultra vat. Probably bad judgment call on my behalf. I should have just gone for a standard GK3. I then proceeded to open Lychee Slicer. I selected my printer and I went to add a resin. And I'd done a bit of Googling to see if I had any baseline settings that I could actually start at to alleviate the wastage that may be caused from exposure testing. If I could get a set of settings that would work and then allow me to tune them or dial them in further should I need to, that was the aim of the game. That was all scuppered because I went to add a resin, and within Lychee Slicer I found 3D Materials resin and found their super fast, SuperElastic resin in clear. And I was like, Steve, the gods are looking down on you. And I went away. I sliced some files. Chris was adamant, I want a rubber benchy. We printed a rubber benchy. As you can see, very, very rubbery. This was printed solid, no infill. One of the things that I noticed when removing said benchy from the build plate of the GK3 Ultra was what on earth has happened to the bottom of it. As you can see, we have some deformation. It is not the correct shape anymore. How strange. Why is this? And I've since thought about this. I've come to the philosophy that the reason that this is the way that it is because this material is so soft. When the benchy, so let's not forget here, this is how we print on a resin printer, upside down. I had supports to lift it off the plate. Those supports were then connected to a raft, which was connected to my build plate. I had an epiphany. This material is that flexible that the supports, when they get pushed down into the resin vat, basically bend. And when you expose, you're exposing another layer. So this layer here, where you can see where it's gone all out of shape, has basically then bonded to the build plate. So in hindsight, I could have really printed this directly onto the build plate. The reason I supported it is because obviously here we do have some weird overhangs and whatever else that probably wouldn't be successfully printed if I didn't put any supports on there. So next, why not print a phone case? Because a silicon-based resin material seems an ideal candidate to 3D print a silicon-type phone case. And I have to say, overall, for a first try, it turned out pretty good. There is a downside. It is way, way, way too flexible. If you drop this, I don't think it's going to protect your phone that much, because I will give you context. That is how flexible this material is. It's like wilting under its own weight. It is ridiculous. There, I can fold it into a sandwich. Sorry to interrupt, I'm Steve from the future. Just to let you guys know, we do have a website,
to fulfill all of your 123 3D printing needs. So if you haven't done so already, please do check out the link in the description where you can have a browse across our whole product range. And if you're outside the UK, please don't forget to check out our sister stores. We have these based in the Netherlands, in Ireland, and also in Sweden. Back to the video.
It's ridiculous. I have no words. And that is not like me. I have no words. But printed beautifully. And I did a very, very similar thing. This time though, when I sliced this model, I actually supported the base, printed it on the build plate like that, well, like that. And because there was a vast array of support spread over a larger surface area, it did give me a better overall print finish. The support seemed to have held up better than they did on the benchy, given the fact that that's solid. There is a bit of weight in there, so that would quite easily crumple under its own weight when you're dunking it to and fro in a vat of resin. The phone case printed fine. Probably the worst part of the expedition was actually removing all the supports, because as you can imagine, they're flexible pieces of elastic. Trying to remove those from a print is pretty much like trying to snap an elastic band times 10 million. It wasn't an enjoyable experience. In hindsight, I may try and print another one directly on the build plate and see how that performs. And the reason I didn't is because there is, very, very hard to see on here, there is a very, very slight overhang all the way around the inside for obviously where it comes back around onto the screen. And you do have some overhangs where your buttons are, which I can imagine them being a bit wibbly wobbly and whatever else if they aren't supported, because this material is just so goddamn flexible, it's unbelievable. The last thing that Chris wanted me to print, he said, well, he was like, what about an airless basketball? We'll scale it down. I have one better. There is an airless ping pong ball. I'd love to know what he sits and browses while he's watching the TV at home. What can we print today? I don't know, an airless ping pong ball. So we downloaded the ping pong ball, and Chris looked at me and went, Steve, I think we might have a problem. And I was like, what's the problem, Chris? How the hell are we going to support that? I was like, really easily. Literally just a few supports on the bottom. I said, because typically from the geometry of the sphere, I can't see any reason why it wouldn't print unsupported, apart from the part that you need to actually adhere to the build plate. So I sliced it, took myself off to the printer, popped it in, pressed print, arrived at work this morning to find a very nice airless ping pong ball that printed out flawlessly. But here's the thing. It's not a ping or a pong ball. It is a very, very rubbery ball, which is exceptionally good at absorbing shock. So it will not bounce because it is that soft. It absorbs all the impact and does not transmit that energy back into recoil, which causes your bounce. When the airless basketball came out, loads of people were thinking, oh, I'm going to print this in TPU. It'll be bouncy as hell. Wrong answer. No, sorry. You need something marginally rigid to cause bounce, because you're compressing and inflating. And if you have something that's very, very soft, it absorbs and it doesn't do a very good job of recoiling it back out. To get that kind of effect, you're going to have to be like on the 90 side, the super hard type TPU. What would we use this for? Please drop it in the comments. What would you use this material for? Whoever comes up with the best answer, I will beg the supplier to send me another bottle so I can fulfill your dream. I've thought about use cases for this. The first thought we actually had was insoles, but now I'm beginning to question that decision, because this could even be too squidgy for insoles. So please, please, please drop it in the comments box below. What would you like to see me print with this material, and why? I need to know what and why, and I shall go away, even if I have to buy a bottle of this out of my own pocket because the manufacturers won't send me any more for free. I will, just to make you happy. But it's got to be legit. It needs to be within the realms of 3D printing. Nothing lewd or untowards, please, ladies and gentlemen, because some of the things that this might be applicable for, I could not show on YouTube. And if you haven't done already, check out the brand, 3D Materials. They make a whole range of 3D printing resins, and I will be reaching out to them and testing their other materials, but I do feel that this is a worthwhile product, and the price that I've seen this advertised for is not at all bad. It is really, really affordable for the everyday user. That is it for this video. Please don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and if you've got any questions about anything that I've talked about in today's video, please do drop it in the comments box below. But first, Give me your suggestions. That is the most important thing. This is what I want from you, the audience, the viewer. I need inspiration, your inspiration. That's it from me on this one. I'm out.